travel the length and breadth of the Kingdom of Valencia in the Spanish Iberian Peninsula without ever losing sight of a castle or a defensive tower. Today, alas, many of these fortresses have disappeared and many others lie in ruins. But as children, were we not all inspired by the sight of a castle and our imaginations awakened by what must have happened there? However, all these battlements and ramparts are not and never have been mere childhood dreams. They were real, and the real story behind them is even more dazzling than we could possibly have imagined. Castles throughout time, what remains of our history.
Joshua called the priests together and told them, "Bring the Ark of the Covenant, and bid 7 priests play 7 trumpets in front of the Yahweh Ark." Then he told the people, "March around the city, and make sure armed men march in front of the Ark." On the 7th day, everybody arose at dawn and went round the city 7 times. Priests played the trumpets, and when the people heard the sound of the trumpets, they started to clamor and shout, and the walls of the city crumbled and fell.
From the destruction of the biblical city of Jericho to the Roman Empire, from the Middle Ages to the 20th century, cities fortified by circles of stone were to be silent witnesses of the advances of humankind, the guardians of the evolution of Western society. Circles of stone. In the words of the Roman orator Cicero,
"Of everything that is done on earth, nothing could be more agreeable to the one main God who rules the world than the meetings and associations of men, united by law, that are called cities."
When the Neolithic hunting and gathering tribes became sedentary and settled in places with natural defenses, the first city was born. But in order to consolidate itself and grow, it had to be fortified. The wall, at first a simple palisade on which defenders could position themselves, provided the inhabitants with the necessary security to develop their markets and craft industries, and then religion, intellectual disciplines, science, and art. In the Iberian Peninsula, the city of Valencia, founded by the Romans in 138 BC, would not find its first great moment of splendor until 8 centuries had passed, with the arrival of Islam. And in fact, according to the 1001 Nights, the Muslims came from Africa in search of another mythical city.
The city of Coppa, built for Solomon, son of David, over both the peace and prayer in the lands of Al-Andalus. It was discovered by Musa, the first governor from the Maghreb, son of Nusair, who reported that it was dominated by evil spirits. But when one of the soldiers scaled the wall, he saw 10 girls beckoning him inside.
Come with us.
But the soldier recited a verse of the Book of Allah, praise him, and Allah dealt with the tricks of the women, who promptly disappeared. Then the governor Musa entered with half of his men, all of whom were armed. Then they reached the thoko of the city and saw that it was an enormous market with tall buildings all similar in shape. Shops were open, the scales hanging. All manner of containers stood in lines, and the warehouses were packed full of all types of merchandise. They saw 4 separate sokos, and near the perfumers they came upon a well-decorated and elegant palace. The governor Musa entered and found himself in a large room with 4 large elevated pavilions. They were spacious and encrusted with gold and silver of different colors. There were various patios and very ornate drinking fountains with marble jets from which water spurted.
In spite of being a literary text, the previous passage of the 1001 Nights describes to perfection a Mandina, or Islamic city. Here, the Muslim community could pray to Allah and go to the markets where vegetables and craft goods were bought and sold. It was primarily an urban culture.